Welcome to another chapter of Fun Facts History. Today we're going to explain a very interesting topic about Maximiliano and Carlota with my co-host Alonso Ratia.
That's right, Leo. And today we're going to learn a little bit more about this topic with an expert named Rodrigo Tavera, which is going to explain more about the topic.
And I need to tell you something else. Our guest is a very important investigator and he have his notes. So he's gonna read us his notes and all his investigations because they are in his diary that he wrote while he was traveling all around the world and knowing these histories.
Of course, Leo. Let's get into it.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here, and let's talk about Maximiliano and Carlota.
Perfect, Rodrigo. Let's start with a very interesting question, and I think that it's very good to start the podcast with this question. Rodrigo, can you tell us a little bit about how Maximiliano and Carlota came to power in Mexico?
Of course, Maximilian of Habsburg, an Austrian archduke, was invited to assume the throne of Mexico by the conservatives, who sought to establish an empire instead of a republic. In 1864, Maximilian accepted the offer, hoping to stabilize the country. His wife, Carlota of Belgium, also played an important role as empress.
Okay, thank you. So another question is, what challenges did they face during their region?
Maximilian and Carlota were under a great deal of pressure. Carlota became increasingly desperate about the situation in Mexico and traveled to Europe seeking support. But her mental health deteriorated during time. Maximilian, on the other hand, stayed in Mexico and despite his efforts to stabilize the country, was captured and executed in 1867.
Carlota's story after Maximilian's fall is quite tragic. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, of course. Carlota returned to Europe and lived the rest of her life in a deteriorated mental state. Due to the pressure and trauma she experienced, she spent her final years in a kind of seclusion in Belgium, away from public life.
Whoa, that seems to be really interesting, Rodrigo.
And that's pretty sad, Rodrigo.
Yes. I have another thing to say. I think that is a really and complex, sad story, Rodrigo. Thanks for sharing us your knowledge with us today. Is there anything else you would like to add to this podcast before?
Sure. Just to add that the story of Maximiliano and Carlota is a reminder of how political ambitions and international pressures can deeply affect the people involved.
Thank you for tuning in the podcast, and thank you to all the watchers and listeners that we have all around the world.
Yes, thank you for joining us in this chapter of Fun Facts History, and thank you so much, Rodrigo, for joining us on this episode.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.